focus. Ideate, innovate, enable.
Welcome to the special discussion on CSR. CSR is a new buzzword in corporate India. Now that it has become mandatory, what are the issues and challenges corporate faces? What are the opportunities? That's our talking point. So we've got a heavy-duty panelist here. So without wasting much ado, let me get to the legal here, Mr. Shroff. Now that CSR has become mandatory, are companies rushing to legal firms like yours and seeking advice?
Certainly there is an interest in developing how to tackle Section 135 of the Companies Act, which makes CSR mandatory. So the process is not as simple as it sounds today, because one has to start with whether the organization is itself going to do it, whether it's going to refer to a NGO, whether it's going to set up its own trust, and what should be the principles and the value systems of doing CSR, the choice of selecting what matters should be undertaken, the fact that you have to have an independent director on the committee of CSR, the fact that you have to compute your 2% of net profits if it's to be done on the profit structure, or 500 crores on the base of net worth, or 1,000 crores turnover. All these have significant legal questions. The need to, for example, have a service level agreement between the company and the executing or implementing arm is also critical, especially for listed companies, where there is a synchronicity between the expenditure and the accounting and publication of accounts, so that there is no delay and one doesn't get caught in the listing agreement. So there are lots of issues which arise legally in the context of CSR.
Okay. Let me get the corporates in here. I just want to draw your attention to what Shiv Nadar says. Shiv Nadar of HCL says, philanthropy is not just about writing check, it is about building an organization that has governance, accountability and transparency. So can you share your experience? You all have been doing CSR much before it became mandatory.
It's a fact, and I share it with a sense of pride that ONGC had been doing CSR much before people started talking about this term CSR. And I would say that we started doing this right from our inception. Whether it was driven by the requirement of business, that's a different thing, because you know that we are spread all over the country on a pan-India basis. We go to very remote locations which are totally inhospitable terrains, which have not seen the fruits of development. And there to go and, touch the lives of those people. Immediately when the company goes, they think that there's something wrong which is being done. Okay. And then to be perceived as a good company, we need to do something which we started doing then, and we can relate it all to CSR, because now it boils down to all corporate social responsibility. Okay. But one thing I would like to always say, that people share their experiences of CSR and say that we are a socially responsible corporate because we abide by all the laws. And that's all. And if we abide by all the laws, we are a very responsible corporate. But then CSR, as I always say, the R, responsibility, as was also mentioned by one of the speakers earlier, it denotes that you must have a duty towards society. And therefore, it's not only just going and abiding by the law of the land. It is trying to do something more for the society. Then you become corporate social responsibility. That is the concept of corporate social responsibility. And that is being practiced by ONGC. Yes.
Mr. Singh, at L&T, can you share your lesson for the newcomers?
At L&T, we always believed in inclusive growth. And all our social responsibility related initiatives are addressing the community development. It's always been our endeavor actually to impact the lives of the not so privileged people, be it through education, be it through health, be it through skill. We've been carrying out these initiatives around our campuses and around our project sites also. When I say project sites, you can imagine generally the interiors of the country as well. But again, I want to add to what Ravi talked about the Companies Act. This gives us an opportunity to all of us to revisit our initiatives, revisit our focus areas. We did exactly that. We went through a large-scale interactive process involving a large number of people, nearly about 3,500 colleagues of ours, across the organization, across locations, across cadres. And we said, let's revisit our theme areas and redevelop what all we should be focused on. We are a national company, so whatever we do as a part of CSR, we should create a national impact. So we have redefined our theme. Now we want to leverage our strengths. We are large in the infrastructure segment. So we said our new theme should be building India's social infrastructure with 4 verticals. One is the water and sanitation, trying to provide safe drinking water and proper proper sanitation facilities. Second was the health, the education, and also skill building. We have gone into a detailed analysis of all of these. To give you another example, the water and sanitation. How do we choose? Where should we go in? One is go to the project sites that we are already into. We said we'll follow a slightly different model. We took up an exercise to see which are the states in the country which are water scarce. A term called water stress index, which measures the water availability in terms of quantity versus the demand, the water quality, that means somebody also talked about the fluoride affected, the nitrate affected water and so on. And also the third aspect which he included was the climate change impacts, the uncertainty in the water supply. But given the climate change situation, the water supplies are also changing. Some areas are drought prone, some are famine prone, some are cyclone prone and so on. So we arrived at what are the states which need attention, then we drill down to the district level, and then we drill down to the TESI level. And so we are trying to start our interventions with water and sanitation, and again build on those for the earlier 3 thrusts, what we talked about, health, education and skill building. So that's the way we are trying to focus on and scale up our social activities as well.
Yeah, okay, let me get Bharti in. Your experience. I also believe first you're like an organization giving checks to too many NGOs. Right. You decide to focus on 1 or 2 areas. Could you throw a light on what would be the lesson for newcomers?
Sure. I think amongst the corporates seated here, Bharti is probably the youngest group. So foundation was set up in 2000, and we initially started off by supporting other organizations working in the area of education. So the chosen area was education of underprivileged children, but we were funding other projects. 2006, we started our flagship program where we said we'll implement it ourselves by setting up what is called the Satya Bharti School Program.
Okay.
That's now 254 schools strong across 6 states. Schools totally managed, funded by the foundation and run by us. In addition to that, now we've got on to our next stage where we work with government schools. In 2 projects, running remedial centers for out-of-school children in over 300 government schools, and holistic quality improvement programs with government schools, because we decided that we will work to impact the overall education system in rural India. All our schools are in villages. Okay. So focus, implementation. Of course, this was till 15th August. After 15th August, our chairman also announced that we would work towards Swachh Bharat, and we announced Satya Bharti Abhiyan and committed 100 crores for toilets in every rural household in Ludhiana district in phase 1, and to provide toilets in every government school which does not have a toilet for girls. So clearly, we said we will
education
work at
and sanitation is the focus area.
Education is the focus area. Sanitation is a new project. Education we have experience. Okay. And in all these areas, another little point, I'll just take 15 seconds, is that while being a foundation and corporate, we draw all our strengths, processes, governance from Bharti. But technically, we are an NGO. It's a trust. It's independent. Okay. It's a universal platform which is funded not only by Bharti, but over 100 other corporates and thousands of individuals also who donate to the foundation. So really, I'm sitting here in between corporates and NGOs as an implementing agency.
Okay. Now let me get Mr. Rekhi in. Historically, CSR was done out of passion, out of conviction. We saw what Tatas did. Now it's a compulsion. Do you see, because of compulsion, some of the corporates, smaller one, would say, okay, let me outsource those whole activities and not bother about the end use of the funds. It's saying, I've done my job. So you see the danger here. How do we correct this?
The smaller companies will not have the wherewithal to actually do this. They will need support and they will need help. I think the one point which I would like to put here, considering that more than 20,000 or somewhere I heard 30,000 crores ultimately will go into CSR, I think there needs to be it to be channelized. I'm not sure the receiving community is ready to receive so much money at one time. Because this requires systems, processes, otherwise there can be serious leakages, there can be serious frauds, there can be misuse of funds, as we know what happens in these cases. So I think there needs to be a kind of channelizing agency through which all this can be consolidated, and even the government's vision as to what they want to do can actually be used. Because today in India, we have a huge challenge. There are the people who don't have. What is the reason for this? Why did the government come with CSR? It's come because the divide is just too large, and they believe that yes, the government needed support in reaching out to the less fortunate in society. And many corporates, the larger ones, were doing it. Even others were doing it. But today, people are compelled to buy their profit to do it, and I think they will need support.